goes a little something like.
Hello, Literates. Welcome back to Writer's Ambition. This is day 5 of Kwanzaa. Are you having a good Kwanzaa? Because I am. So today is Nia or Purpose, and I am so incredibly happy to have a guest for today. Today is widening your view, your favorite thing with a Black twist. My favorite thing is fantasy and spec fic. Obviously, let's get into Black fantasy and Black spec fic. So who else would I ask but Britney S. Lewis? Britney S. Lewis is the author of forthcoming contemporary horror, The Undead Truth of Us, which I've lovingly dubbed Tutu. It's the story of 16-year-old Zari trying to figure out why her mother turned into a zombie and then died. Since then, she's seen zombies everywhere, and one in particular, a cute skater boy named Bo, isn't a zombie all the time. Maybe he's the key to this speculative mystery. So welcome, Britney. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Happy Kwanzaa.
Yes, happy Kwanzaa. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have mucho questions.
Okay.
So let's just hop in, because this book, if I had done a reading vlog, I didn't, because y'all know I'm the queen of what? Spoilers. So I was like, I'm gonna have to confine myself to a small space. But if y'all have seen that reading vlog of me reading this book, it would have been like it would have been all like falling off of couches, sitting on kitchen tables, laying down on countertops. It would have just been me trying to process everything that I'm reading. And so my first question really is, what inspired you to write a contemporary speculative fiction horror, let alone with zombies via surrealism?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think for me, it goes back to like my college days. I have had a lot of bad luck with love, and and I just really wanted to explore what that looks like from a perspective of the undead. Because if you think about if you think about zombies in general, just like the basic like American version of zombies, they are only working for like food. So they're after brains, they're after your heart, they're after really whatever they can get of you. And in my mind, I felt like boys at the time of my life were like zombies because they were only after, your heart. But like not in the good way. It was all in the like, I want to destroy you kind of way. And so I wanted to take that and I wanted to flip it into this story that eventually became The Undead Truth of Us, but it definitely did not start off that way. It was just a concept that I started in 2015, but then I didn't really finish until 2020. So like I dived back into it fall of 2019, and then spring of 2020, I completed it. And I dived into like edits. But since I've been working on this book for so long, by early summer, I was already querying the story. And then I got my agent in June. So yes, that's how the story kind of came into fruition. Lots of heartbreak. And I hope maybe some of that comes through in the book, but that's definitely where I got my start.
Oh, Zari is definitely heartbroken from the beginning. Like, it's from her mother, but
yeah,
she's definitely heartbroken the entire book, and then gets an extra dose because obviously. But that is so interesting. She said the boys were the original zombies, males. Y'all are the original zombies. That is hilarious.
Gruesome, okay? Like there's been people are not nice. Humans can be reckless.
Reckless and vicious.
Yes.
That's hilarious. There were a lot of male zombies in the book. I'm like, were there any females? Like there were, But there were more boy zombies than there were.
That was actually not intentional. That was unintentional. Subconscious. It was definitely a Freudian slip.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay, what was your favorite thing about Tutu?
Ooh, that's hard because I'm biased. I think my favorite part about the Undead Truth of Us has been being able to explore like the competitive dance side of things.
Okay.
Coincidentally, I also started dancing in 2015. I dance West Coast Swing, which is a form of ballroom dance, but it's very contemporary. And so if you watch any type of like Dancing with the Stars, they always incorporate like a session where they have like West Coast Swing. And it's not like bouncy like you normally like think of like swing dancing and like East Coast Swing in the 20s. It's very like smooth and it's done on a slot. Anyway, so I got into dancing in 2015 and then I started competitively dancing. And so I would go out and I would compete with like the local ballroom community here in Kansas City. And I just fell in love with it really fast and really quickly. And so figuring out how I was going to incorporate that into the book and how I was going to write it was just so exciting for me because I had never heard of West Coast Swing prior to being introduced to it. And I haven't really read a lot about it. A lot of the books that feature dance is generally ballet. Sometimes hip hop, but like I would say maybe that's just the books that I'm reading too, but I almost always find like a ballet type.
Yeah.
Ballet and like so anyway, I think the dance portion, that and then like the gory stuff was a lot of fun to write, which sounds wrong, but it was so much fun to write.
Yeah, no, so who got you into West Coast Swing? Like, did you just like stumble past the studio one day and trip inside or?
No, I have a friend, her name is Liz. Okay. Coons Watkins, if she's watching this, and she just is she's such a bright soul, first of all, and she's very convincing, and she was just like, you should just come on a Tuesday night one night, I teach a class, let me teach this to you. And I didn't have anything else going on, like I was about to graduate college and I was like, why not, it seems like fun. I was already taking like dual credits at this community college in my town, and I was taking like a dance class as part of like just a general ed course, and I was already liking that, so I was like, yeah, like why not. I had no idea that it was going to be what it was, but I liked it a lot. It was great. I still love it. I still like try to do it like twice a week if I can, but now with the book stuff, I haven't been able to do it as much as I want to. But anyway, so that's how I got into it.
Those are good problems to have.
Yes, true. I'm very thankful.
Now that your dream is kicking off.
I know, it feels unreal, but here we are, Britt.
Here we are. Here we are. So speaking of the gory stuff that you love, which by the way, that scene of those zombies lip locking, literally, that would have been a moment if I was vlogging it, because I was like, no. But keep focusing on that, Zari. What you looking away for? Now I can't see the zombies anymore. Man, it was like, don't look, but also let's not shift perspective. Yes, stop looking at that annoying boy. I'm trying to see these zombies. Literally, I was like that, like it's little moments like that where I was like, this is definitely zombies as you've never seen them. So y'all, you have to get excited. Get excited for lip locking zombies. Huh? Get excited. So from the zombies to Zari's playlist, Tutu was just a very sensory experience. So I personally have added Sound and Color by Alabama Shakes to my playlist.
What?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a vibe.
Her name is also Britney, the main singer of Alabama Shakes. Black woman. Her name is Britney. It's amazing. Yes, it's so exciting.
We're taking over.
Yes.
That's what's happening. That's what I got from it. I'd heard that song once before, but this listen just hit different. And now I'm obsessed. Did you have a playlist that you wrote to? And if you did, what was your favorite song on it?
Okay, yes, I totally have a playlist. It's on my Spotify. I'll probably share it with you later. But it's called The Undead Truth of Us because I named it that after the title was picked out. So I think even if you search it on Spotify, it'll pop up.
Okay.
But my favorite song on that playlist is called September Song. And I don't remember who it's by. It's this man, he looks like Bob Marley, and I feel so bad for forgetting his name, but it's like an acoustic song, and it's like kind of has like a happy beat to it, like lots of like major chords that make you feel excited and like very, I don't know, in this moment. And he's singing about, you know, having this love when he was 15, and like if he had seen that person today, what it would be like. It's very exciting. So September Song was definitely my most played song of the year that I was writing this book. And it's for sure in that album. Absolutely. That's so exciting. I love that you have a little playlist.
Oh, yeah. Like if you remember when I was live tweeting it, because that was the closest I could allow myself. And even in that live tweet was mostly memes.
I loved your thread. That was so cute.
It was mostly memes. I was like, I can't say too much. Let me just. But literally every time Bo was like, have you heard this song? I was like, okay, I'm in it with Zari. Like I was like, I'm trying to sit next to Zari and hear it and like experience this whole book. So yeah, no, I definitely, whenever Bo had a suggestion for Zari, I was like, you mean us, right? Oh, not just her? Okay. I'll back off. But as a switching sort of gives a little bit as a writer, I know that sometimes the beginning of a book can be the hardest part to get like cemented. And I wonder, right, because like you said that it's based on your heartbreak and you hope that that comes through, and it definitely does, because Zari loses her mother literally in chapter 1. It's not even a spoiler. So there is a lot of heartbreak in the book, but I wonder if Zari's mom was always dead by the end of chapter 1, or was there ever a version where we get more lifetime with her?
That has always been the original story. So even as I went to write it, I have always seen her mom's zombification and then her unfortunate death in the beginning of the story. So it's always been just like that. It's the sentences have changed a little bit, just to make it feel a little bit more, I guess, visual, but it's always been that way. So yeah, the first chapter has pretty much been the first chapter for the most part. That and the whole zombies kissing thing, those were like the two first things I've seen.
Thank you for leaving that.
With their Jordans on. That's so funny.
Truly, I'm like, wow. Truly, this is contemporary horror. Okay. I know you know I was gonna ask this. So let's get into it with Bo.
Oh, Bo.
Bo is my sweetheart. I mean, I'm glad that he's with Zari and everything. He's a 16-year-old boy, but Bo, I think you're an amazing human being. So you've talked about Zari and Bo as Black love, like before and on your socials. And I wonder, did you anticipate, or can you talk about any pushback you may have anticipated with Bo being half Korean?
Yes, he's half Vietnamese, and
Girl,
that's okay. And you know what? I was anxious about it because politics, but so I'm from Kansas City, Kansas, and in my neighborhood and all my schools that I've gone to, we've always had a really big Asian community, and it's grown tremendously since then. And a lot of the people in the Asian community are Hmong and also Vietnamese. And so I didn't learn about their culture until I was in high school, because my high school was very diverse, but like we had a whole month dedicated to them. And so like we would always have an assembly where we were like learning about their culture. And one thing I didn't feel like I saw a whole lot of was interracial dating between the two. And I know that like just in general, like communities can be very strict about dating outside of their race. And so anyway, I've grown up with a lot of like crushes who have been Asian in my community. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I just see both so viscerally that way. And I know that there's a lot of people who date outside their race that are Black and that are Asian. And so yeah, that's all I could see. Once I like imagined Bo in my head, I could only see him as that way. And so yeah, that's how we came up to that. But I was afraid of pushback just because, you know, I'm not an Asian woman. I'm Black, both my parents are Black. And so I don't have the perspective of that way, but we did have a lot of sensitivity readers who were biracial, who were Black and who were Asian and who were Hispanic even. And it made me feel a little bit better about it, you know, because I can't give into that community in the way that maybe they can give into that community. But Bo's mother is Black and my mother is Black. And so I could bring from that perspective as much as I could. But yeah, absolutely. I'm still anxious about feedback about that because people want what they want and everyone is different and we all enjoy like totally different stories, different romance lines, and Bo being diverse and interracial has definitely been a thing of I think maybe a sensitive topic more for me than for the world. I feel like people are gonna be like, that's fine. But I'm anxious about it because because Bo is a sweetheart and I love him.
He is.
He's just so great and he's just so free-spirited and yeah.
Then not nobody come for Bo and that's on period. Like that's the end. Do not come for this sweet child.
Oh, I love him.
And especially when like there's this scene where we do see Bo and his mother interacting and it's a very Black interaction. So I'm like, yes. Bo is being raised as a Black boy. So like it's Black love, period. Like that's just it. And he's multicultural and biracial, but he is having a Black childhood experience.
Absolutely. You cannot get away. The cultural thing is always everything. So yeah, his mom does not play. She's very strict.
At all. At all. And I loved it. I was like, oh, interesting. So even with, and I mean, there's only so much I can say about Bo because y'all haven't met him yet necessarily, but he is very free-spirited. And he is, man, I'm gonna have you back after the book come out. So I can literally just say whatever. Listen.
We can have a spoiler version of this and you can just ask all the spoilery questions that you want. As long as you tag it as spoilers, people aren't like, oh no, I didn't know. But yeah.
The truth is, people are probably expecting me to accidentally spoil it during this interview. So yes, I'll tag it as spoiler, but if it's on my channel, they know. I will. They do. I'm bad. I be trying so hard, but if it ain't in a cup, I can't hold water.
That's funny. That's good.
At least I'm consistent. They know me. They absolutely know what they're gonna get. So, okay, great. So you heard it here first. We're gonna have a spoilery part 2 to this. Okay, great. Now I can behave and not try to like wheedle other things out of her while she's here. Now I'll behave. Okay, my next question then, since you'll be back. So apart from you thinking about like reader response to Bo, what's like the most important thing that you wanted to communicate to readers with this book?
I think I really wanted to communicate the different ways that love can affect someone. I think we think so consistently of love as just like a romantic kind of love. And I think it's in the Greek term where they have like different names.
Agape, eros, phileo.
Yes, Brit,
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Okay.
And it's not always romantic, right? Because we have just like the Greek words, like we have like our familiar love, we have our friendly love. And I wanted to take that and I wanted to express it through the different forms of how like love, those different forms of love can affect you, whether that be for a good thing or for a bad thing. And so I just really wanted to touch on that. Also, I feel like my younger self was pretty obsessed with love in general. Like, I think a lot of people are, because it's like in our being, it's like innate to us to want to love and to be loved. And so what if we explored love in this very contemporary horror-esque way?
Yeah, I really, really, I don't want to say love the way you explore love. I really admired the way that you explored love in this book, because I wasn't expecting the book to be about love. And I do have to say, I love that there are so many different kinds of love in Tutu. There's mother love, there is romantic love with Bo, there is the I appreciate the representation of internet friends. I was like, we really be down for people.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I love Minnie. She's amazing. And she's so supportive. And like, I have so many internet friends. It just makes sense that like we could do this on camera.
Yes.
And this is like a normal thing for people. It's not like strange, but like it's our world now.
Right. I'm like, we're in a whole hot spam sandwich anyway. You could have friends that you used to know in person that you ain't seen in 2 years.
Exactly. It's normal. It's normal.
It's normal. I loved it. So we have that sort of like that phileo love, right? So I just love all of the different, there it is again. I really appreciated all the different representation of love that we got in the Undead Truth of Us. And then just the way that like Zari was really longing for all of these different kinds of love. She was longing for her mother back, but she was also longing for a stronger relationship with her aunt like she used to have. She was longing for a connection with Bo, even if she was afraid to admit it for most of the novel.
Yeah.
She's longing for a connection with his friends, and admitted that quicker than she admitted that she liked Bo. So it's just like all of the different forms of connection that Zari is longing for, in the ways that we see that like reflected back horrifically. So I just found that dance so compelling, and it really just like blossomed into like the speculative bent of this novel. Like the contrast between longing and horror really like intersected to just speculation. Really, like it was really well done. I was just experiencing it. Like I felt like it was really just like blossoming around me. Like it's very sensory.
I love that. It makes me so happy. I don't have many words. I just feel awkward accepting all these compliments. So it's nice hearing you have that experience while you read it.
Yeah.
While you drink your tea.
It was so good. It was so good. Okay. It was so good. Y'all have to get this book. And also, I'll take the opportunity to say, pre-orders really help an author.
They do. They really do. Especially if you, I'm not with like a top, what is it? Is it still top 5, top 4 publishing house, whatever?
Top 4, yeah.
Major house. I mean, Disney is Disney, but like pre-orders help authors, especially like BIPOC authors, like when it feels as if there's no readers for our genre, when there are readers, but like it's the marketing that pushes, you know, these titles and these stories out to people. And I don't have the money for, you know, global marketing. So pre-orders are everything. Please pre-order.
Pre-orders are everything. 'Tis the season to give someone something that they won't get until August, but who cares? They'll know that they're getting a pre-order now.
Just pre-order now as a Christmas gift for yourself. And then in the summertime, it'll be delivered to your house.
Think of it as planting a seed.
Planting
Zombies. plant you a zombie seed this season. Forget all those wildflowers. Forget roses. Sage, plant you a zombie seed and just see what it won't do. Watch it bless you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And also, if you don't have the coin to pre-order,
It's fair.
you go to your library, request it, they will buy it. That helps the author as well. Go to your local bookstores, especially indies. Excuse me, ma'am, sir, whomever you are. Are you planning on stocking Tutu? Because I need that. Like, you know, all of that will help everybody around you buy Tutu, and then you just go get a free copy.
Yeah, the libraries are amazing. They do so much for the communities. And so like requesting from a library, your local one, honestly, any library near you is going to help them, which will in turn help the author, but it also helps you because the book is free.
Yes. Then you can share the joy. Oh my gosh, I just thought of it. Is this going to be an audiobook?
You know, I hope so. I'm thinking that it will be. I will know more in the spring.
Okay. Yeah, I caught her real early. I was like, can I,
We
before
will
everyone realizes.
realness, yes.
Yes, but let me hop on this before she blow up and get famous. Ain't got no time for the little Britneys anymore.
Oh, I love supporting small YouTube channels. My heart. So
That's me.
but you're growing so significantly.
I appreciate all my literates. We just scooched over into 500 strong.
Everyone,
out here.
Everyone is here for the honesty. So
man, me talking about all the things that I'm trying to do.
I will enjoy it.
Yes, take a little sip. We're gonna call this the honesty for the month also, because with all the Kwanzaa, I just didn't do one for this month, and literally one of my subscribers last month was like, "Where's the honesty?" I'm sorry, let me get on that real quick.
They called you out, Britt.
Absolutely, they did. Which I was like,
Cool.
I'm flattered, and also okay.
I know.
Okay. I'm gonna get it, but I needed the push, so I'm not even gonna hold you. I needed it. But I'm here drinking tea and being honest. So this is the honest tea. We're just talking about someone else's writerly goals and accomplishments, because what am I? A professional Black woman, hype woman, period.
Literally, you are the best hype. I feel like there is a subset group of people who have just been so amazing and you are in that group who have just been like, oh my goodness, we're so excited for you. I'm just gonna retweet whatever you do. And I'm like,
period.
Weird. I love it. It's weird in an I love way, because it is hard for someone to understand, and you'll get it. I know that you are on your way you're in your publishing path. You're getting so close. And I just know that when you get to this point, you will also be like, Brittany, I understand what you're saying.
Right, because I have like 300 followers on Twitter right now, or maybe like 200 and something. I can't imagine people like 200 people like liking a tweet that I put out about like a book or something. It's just like, oh, really? Interesting.
Oh my God.
So right now I'm like, of course, Brittany, but I know that when it's me, I'll be like, you're all just gonna retweet it. Okay, no, go ahead, yeah.
You know, Twitter is very finicky, so listen, that platform thrives on drama. And I don't have a whole lot of drama to share,
Amen.
which might be a little boring to Twitter. So
it's Twitter
on the tweet of what it is I'm tweeting that day.
No, Twitter is a vicious bird of prey.
TikTok's great. Those two things, but Twitter's a little hard. It's a little hard. It's a little scary.
It's a vicious bird of prey. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Like they don't just be out there trying to get like sunflower seeds. They really just be out there trying to eat flesh. They do. Yeah. You're gonna see zombies everywhere after you read Tutu. Twitter's a zombie. Your ex-boyfriend's a zombie.
Yeah, literally.
He's like, no, he is. Be careful. He is. Okay, so if we could switch gears.
Yeah.
We're talking about TikTok, which is perfect. So you have several reels on Instagram and TikToks where you talk about your journey to getting your agent and book deal as a Black woman. So I just want to pick your brain about your journey for any early career writers watching, especially early career Black writers out there. So when did you start writing, and when did you know that you wanted to do it professionally?
Okay, great two-part question. So I have been a journaler for majority of my life. So when I was in third grade, I snuck into my sister's room and I found her diary. I'm sorry, sister, if you're watching this. I found her diary and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that she was like writing all this stuff in a diary. And I wanted to be just like my sister because she's very beautiful and she's so popular. She's always been popular. And I don't know when, but I must have asked for a diary at some point. And so I remember being in third grade, writing my first diary entry and just thinking, I'm going to do this every single day for the rest of my life. Because, third grader Britney was thinking I was going to commit to that. But I actually did. I wrote in that same diary from my third grade, so probably 2002, all the way up until 2016. And I documented like as much as I could. And so I've always been like writing random stuff, but it's always been about what I've been doing that day. And then I started like writing fictionally in 2014 after I had finished the Twilight saga, which I think most millennials who read the Twilight saga had some type of effect to want to also do their own writing, I think. Okay. A lot of people dog on Twilight, but as a teenager, I really loved that series.
I'm not gonna act like I didn't stand in line to get New Moon or Breaking Down Part 2 or whatever, and it was midnight.
Yes, and
I was out there.
Yeah, I checked a lot of those out from the library, but my school library was always out of it. Like it was always a long list of waiting. And so I was like, oh, dang it. So all that to say, with adult eyes, I can see the very problematic issues in Twilight now. But as a teenager, it was like, yes, this vampire is falling in love with this basic girl. How can I be that way?
I'd be that basic girl.
But also I was so upset because like I really wanted a Black love interest, and there's always been Black love books, but like they haven't been widely marketed. So I don't think I knew of a lot of them, or they were like adult books, right? So like, and also like the Black books that I had at my school were all from like the 70s and the 80s. And I just could not understand all of the lingo, and I was just getting bored. So that being said, anyway, I started writing the moment I finished that saga, and I was like, I'm going to write my own thriller book. It's going to be about this girl in Kansas City, Kansas, and she gets like intermingled with this serial killer, and like she doesn't know it. So that was my very first book that I wrote, and I finished it in like 20. I think I messed up on my years. I think I might have said that I started writing in 2014, but I think I started writing in 2010 actually.
Okay.
Sorry, 2009, 010, I started like writing. I finished that book in like 2011. Then I learned about the publishing process, like that you needed a query, that you needed a literary agent, that these literary agents were mostly in New York. I stumbled upon a site called Agent Query Connect, which I don't think exists anymore. I used to be very active in that forum, but I think it's gone. I think only Agent Query is a thing now. Anyway, I found all these agents, and you had to like write query letters, and you had to like send it in the mail to them. And so I did that. I found out who Stephanie Meyer's literary agent was. She was the first person I queried via snail mail, and I got a rejection 3 months later. It was so exciting. I was like in college when I got my rejection letter, because I was sending it like the summer of my senior year after I had graduated high school. And I was thinking, this is going to be so nice. I'm going to get my first acceptance letter when I'm in college. And no, it was just a form rejection. So that was fun. Anyway, that's when I started writing.
Okay, you did say a decade, which actually takes me into my next question. So you said in one of your like more recent reels that you went through hundreds of agents over 10 years before getting your agent. Where does one find hundreds of agents to even query? And was this like a systematic search, or was this like throwing spaghetti at the wall? How does one find hundreds of agents? Because I'm like, yeah, I got 15, and I'm like, the rest of them, I don't know where they are. I don't know how to.
There are so many places that you can find. When I say I queried hundreds of agents, like I did. I don't know how. Probably at this point, over the lifespan of querying, maybe I've probably queried up to like 200, 300 agents. I wouldn't be surprised. At first, it was like throwing spaghetti at the wall because I was new and I didn't understand like that you had to, that you wanted a good agent. So I found these agents via Agent Query, that website. They had like pages and pages and pages of agents that you could contact. And it was cool because you could filter it by the genre that you write. So like I could click young adult books and find young adult agents. And then I could like take it a step further by clicking contemporary or by clicking thriller. And it would just give me these pages of literary agents. And so from there, I would like to start just querying like a mad person. I did a few snail mail queries, but those are really expensive because you have to buy stamps. And then you have to print a lot of stuff out. And then I did majority like email queries. And so over time, my querying game became a lot better because one, I discovered their websites and what it was they were actually asking for in a query letter. I also had a lot of query critique partners who on this forum, we only just critiqued each other's queries. And so people would be very brutal with my queries and they would tell me like, this is trash, maybe consider rewriting it like this. And that was awful to hear because you want to think that you're great, but like when people are like, this is awful, you got to kind of take it as it is. So it was a very hard experience, but it was really helpful as far as like growing a query. And so I kind of love being able to concisely get like the story into 3 paragraphs now. Like it makes me feel all tingly inside. So yeah, I found a lot of them on Agent Query Connect. And then as time has gotten a little bit better, Twitter was really helpful. The hashtag MS wishlist, I think, is a thing. There's also a website called Manuscript Wishlist that I would start using. And then a lot of my favorite authors, I would just like look to see who they were agented by. And then if there were any type of agents in their house, that would be a good fit for my book. So it took a decade of figuring that out, but I have an amazing agent now and very, very, very thankful for her. She's a beast. But it took a long time coming. Lots of trial, lots of error, lots of rejections, lots of not knowing what I was doing, lots of editing, lots of books.
Yeah. I typically hear that it's not the first book that they ever wrote that got them their agent. It's like book 3 or 4 or whatever. So yeah, prepared for that. But so for these 10 years, what were you doing professionally?
Professionally, for majority of the time, I was a I was a student.
Okay.
So I was a student for most of that time, and I just had a lot of time during summer breaks, winter breaks, and spring breaks to write and to query. In college, I like stepped up my query game, and so I was always querying in college. Like I would be in the middle of one of my marketing classes, checking my email, looking at a rejection letter from the agency, and I'd be like, "Oh no, my heart." I was always checking my email. And then after college, I graduated and I've done a few different jobs since then. But I mean, I work full time still. So like I work at a university now. And so I'm able to we have busy seasons and we have very like chill seasons. And so during those chill seasons on my lunch break, like I just went crazy. I had like an Excel document and everything. So I was keeping track of like who I was querying, if they rejected, if they requested. Those stats got so much better right before I got my agent, but that was the only time it had ever been better or the only time it had ever been good. It's always been rejection, like through and through. I'm almost always have gotten a rejection or no response.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones that are like, we don't respond, we don't want it. I'm like, but when should I start crying though? Like 3 months, 2 weeks, like.
Yes.
I hate
Yes, it's not a vibe.
It's brutal. That's the word. You said it. It's definitely brutal. So you sort of have been given like the shape of your found my agent story, but like, what was that process like for you? Who's your agent?
Her name is Caitlin Detweiler, and she works for Jill Grinberg LLC. I'm the worst. Jill Grinberg Literary Agency is what I call it, but I know that literary agency is not the very end of it. Please forgive me, my agency house, they're amazing. But anyway, it's founded by Jill Grinberg. She is an amazing woman. She is also the agent of Marissa Meyer, who wrote like The Cinder, everything. So that is what agency house my agent is at. Did you ask how I found her?
Yes.
Okay, so it was a Twitter pitch contest.
Okay.
And I have notoriously done Twitter pitch contests, and I've had another agent prior to Caitlin, who I also got through Pit Mad. And then in 2020, I did DV Pit. Again, I was doing it like almost every year at this point. When I didn't have an agent, I guess I was doing like the whole DV Pit and Pit Mad stuff. And 2020, my pitch just blew up that year. Like I tweeted it that morning when I woke up, and then I did like another one an hour after, and I just had all these notifications. And I had already sent my book out to a decent amount of agents, some who had requested it and rejected, some who still had like a partial. And Caitlin had just happened, she already had half of my manuscript, but she also saw my pitch and was like, hey, I'm actually reading this right now. Anyway, you could just send me the full. And I was like, yeah, of course.
Every way.
It just skyrocketed from there. Like when I say that week, it went crazy. And I think it was like the DV Pit for June of 2020, which was already a crazy month as is. Very emotional month. I was also like in my house for most of the time because of the pandemic. I have never had so much interest in my book ever in my entire history until that week. It was like millions of emails and DMs, and I say millions, but like, like 20 emails, which was better than one. So and then we signed 2 weeks after. Like I spoke on the phone with her. She read the whole book in a day. She was very serious about it, and there were a few other agents who offered, and so I just had like a couple of weeks of just lots of interviews with these agents, and let me tell you, it just felt so different when the tables had finally turned. And so hearing interest in your book felt weird. Like, are you guys out to get me? Because for the last 10 years, it hasn't been that way. And I won't lie, part of me feels like, my book didn't get picked up because Black people have been under distress, but in particular, we're under a lot of distress in June 2020.
Say that.
And so I felt like maybe publishing felt a little guilty, and I just got in through the gap, which sounds so awful to say out loud, but I honestly truly think that I really do think that my book got a lot of traction because people were wanting to invest in more Black stories at that time. And so,
and you know what, that may be true, but the other reality is that part of the reason that it may not have been getting traction before is because of racism. So it's not like, right, so it's like, so y'all decided to stop being racist for a second and read my book, and then you saw that it was quality.
Yep.
So get your gas.
It's just so frustrating because I feel like there are so many talented Black authors who just couldn't get their foot in the door at all because they were writing about Black stories.
Yep.
And I know for a long time, I keep thinking about the narrative. I don't remember if you heard this discourse anywhere, but when Angie Thomas was going to get her book, The Hate You Give, sold, there was a conversation of, well, if we have Jason Reynolds, do we need Angie Thomas? And
Ridiculous.
just the thought of thinking that you just need one Black person, not that he was the only Black person writing books, but like that we're writing, you know, the books that they were particularly writing.
Right.
The fact that there was even a discussion like, are other people having the same discussion when they talk about, if you remember the Girl in the Dress books that were everywhere, there was always this white girl in a big dress and it was all over the place, and that's all I remember seeing when I was in college, like, dang, these are all the same book over and over and over again. And so for the discussion in a acquisitions meeting to even be like, if we have him, then do we need her? Like, what? Yes, because everyone has a different story and we all have different perspectives. And so it pains me to know that there have been so many Black authors who just couldn't even get in through the door because, well, we already have our Black book this year and this is what we're publishing. That sucks. That sucks. So yeah, I also faithfully and religiously listened to Deadline City with Daniel Clayton and Zoraida Cordova. And I remember I started listening to their podcast like crazy in 2022, and just like hearing their experiences and how they've gotten into the door of publishing have been a wild ride for them as well. Like, it hasn't been this beautiful, pristine thing. Like, I think Zoraida has been writing since she was 13 years old. And like, she hasn't gotten the traction that she deserves until more recently, but like, I feel like she should have gotten that a long time ago. And then with Danielle too, like she debuted her book, The Bells, I think in 2015 or 2016. Also with Disney. And I just felt like she is an amazing writer, and in her book that she co-wrote, what is it? Tiny Pretty Things is also really, really good. But I just feel like a lot of these authors were not always getting the recognition that they deserve. So it sucks.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, and it has by no means stopped. Like, I think that publishing did onboard a lot of Black writers in 2020 because everyone was catching scrutiny, because once again, we have another spectacularized and highly circulated video of state-sanctioned violence, anti-Black violence. And so like, whenever there's that from any section, there's always going to be everyone scrambling to make their anti-racist statements. And for Black writers or Black teachers, or like from whatever sector, for Black people to just like have a little boon under them. But it's like, it's very synthetic. It's very synthetic, and it's very temporary. We're in 2021. And I think that swell from publishing has already just like it's already dissipated.
It's really sad to see.
It is. It's really sad to see. And to talk to other early career Black writers who are yet unagented, and to just be like, are they really gonna wait until someone else is murdered to put us on?
I hope not.
Are they really gonna have us out here with blood money? Like, what? Like, it definitely, like, the matrix is very clear. It's definitely there, but it's disheartening on all fronts. Apparently, whether you have an agent or whether you don't, like, it's still just disheartening to know that's the border of your story.
Yeah. Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
My goodness. Okay. We're here, y'all. We're still here. Now that you have one book coming soon and another close behind, you've got some time to breathe, hopefully. Do you have short-term and long-term writerly goals?
Yes, I do. I think
This is the honesty, remember, so you have to share your goals.
Oh, Jesus.
As many as you're comfortable with.
My long-term goals are definitely just that I really want my book to get to its readers. Like, for me, it would be a dream if I could hand out this book to every Black YouTuber, TikToker, bookstagrammer, tweeter, reader, librarian. Like I would, because I want them to be able to like, one, have this for free, but also like, two, like if it's something that they like and they want to spread the word to someone else, like I think that would be amazing. I personally don't have the money to send these books to everyone.
Amen. And you need to get your money from this book.
But also like I think it for me, it would be a lifelong dream if my book got to its audience. I really feel like the story, it's like Black horror in general, like it doesn't always get the light that it needs to get. And so unless you're a very established author, I think it can be very hard to break into that genre, or to break into any genre. Like I feel like while there are way more Black books that are coming out, it's obvious that a lot of those Black books don't get the marketing push and PR that they deserve. And so my biggest fear is just that I'm going to release this book and that's it, and no one's going to hear of it. And it's like that whole saying, if a tree falls in a forest, like,
no,
if no one's around to hear it, did it even fall? Does it matter? Like, it's a riddle. So
that is not going to happen to you. This book is amazing. And there are plenty, like you said, there are plenty of amazing Black books that fell in the forest that no one knew. But I'm going to be yelling. I'm going to be screaming. It's the tutu for me. Like, I will blow up my TikTok with videos of this. Like, there's no way.
Aww.
There is no way. And also, like, what I feel like Brie, the Lots Booktician, another Black book, I feel like she would love this. Like, she's all into the horror. I feel like Brie would absolutely love the Undead Truth of Us. So I am not above pre-ordering and sending her a copy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not above it at all.
Thanks, Britt. I appreciate it.
Listen, we're out here. Like we're out here. This is the work. I love this book, and there's just no way. There's no way. Ain't gonna be no trees around here except for the trees falling to make this book, and that's just it.
Well, this book is it's definitely my baby, my first book. Hopefully I have like, a bunch of books.
Yes.
But like this book, I think I'm hoping that it'll be the book that helps skyrocket my.
That'd be great.
I would love to be a full-time author. I just don't see that in the works for me anytime soon, just because, publishing doesn't pay all that well. And while I am thankful to have to be working with Disney because they've been amazing so far, I just know that like I still have to have a full-time job for benefits, medical, insurance, health insurance. The US is great.
Right. Yeah, no, publishing is slow. And
yes, it's so slow.
Consistent.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. I can only imagine. I definitely fully intend to be a full-time professor even after I publish. Like, one, because I'm not getting this degree for no reason, but two, just because like publishing is slow and it takes time for money to come in, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, yeah, for the authors out here who have managed to become full-time in less than 5 years, I'm like, can you just show us your ways?
Please.
Wait, maybe you should get a Patreon. Apparently that's what N.K. Jemisin did.
I don't know.
Go look at N.K. Jemisin's Patreon, because she left.
Okay.
Partner literally just told me this. I was like, girl, don't ever let me get a Patreon. I'm never. And she was like, N.K. Jemisin has a Patreon, and that is the way she was able. That's the way she was able to be full time.
Really?
Yeah.
On one hand, like that makes me sad because she should be getting paid so much money.
Freaking Nora K. Jemisin of the, like, just name the Hugo after her. Just name it the Jemisin.
Yes.
I'm saying
it is hers. So that makes me sad that she had to get a Patreon. But on the other way, like she's grinding, obviously, and she has an amazing plan that is helping fund her career. And why isn't she getting paid what she deserves?
Right.
It makes me so sad.
Right. Like the advances that she's getting in the books, like publishing paid me definitely. Let's turn into a real honesty. Publishing paid me just really just revealed.
Yes.
Revealed the depths to which Black writers are undervalued.
Absolutely.
And L.L. McKinney, like, and I forget L.L. McKinney, and there was
L.L. McKinney and Tochi Anibuchi.
yes.
I might have said his last name wrong, but yes. And
Word.
LL is in my city. She lives in Kansas City too.
Oh, does she?
She does. And the two of them basically got this conversation going, and it skyrocketed from there. And so, like, when I was looking at that spreadsheet of authors, like across the board, like what they got paid for what book, their first book, and just like seeing the, oh my goodness, the numbers, like I will never not forget, like I think it was like a 7-figure deal that some man had gotten. I might be blowing that out of proportion. It was definitely high 6 figures, 7 figures. And like, no one knew who he was and still is to this day. And like, to get that kind of money for one book,
right?
Maybe it's a 2-book deal, I don't know. But the point is, he got that much money to write those books. And I think even he said, like, maybe he was also surprised to get that kind of money. But I digress. It hurts me to know that that is a thing still, that, you know, Black people in general, and just BIPOC authors as well, authors and writers who are getting underpaid. But publishing paid me was definitely an eye-opener.
And I appreciate L.L. McKinney for coming back even more recently and saying, because, well, we're really about to get into the honesty. I don't particularly, like, when I say people of color, I mean people of color, but but I don't like how people use the people of color moniker.
Yes.
And what you're talking about is Black people, because that just proves that you don't want to talk about Black people. You don't want to acknowledge anti-Black racism. You just want to talk about, oh, well, it's hard for all people of color and brown folk. And I'm just like,
let's just say it how it is.
Right. I'm like, can we just say, like, the number of hate crimes documented, like, Black people are the majority, even though we're the minority in the country. Minority for all of these negative things, hate crimes, like jail, prison, all these different things, but we don't want to talk about anti-Black racism. It always has to be under some umbrella of POC or BIPOC. And I'm like, I don't appreciate it, because it still smacks to me of anti-Blackness when we say BIPOC, when you just mean things that are primarily happening to Black people. And so when L.L. McKinney came back and was like, hey, how you doing? So Publishing Paid Me was about Black writers being underpaid. So, like, let's not pull it into the BIPOC umbrella. I'm talking specifically, Tochi and I were talking specifically about Black writers. And I was like, be clear.
She is loud and she is clear, and she talks about, and she says what she means. Like, she goals, that woman.
She said, I said what I said.
She did.
I appreciate it.
Go buy her books.
Out here in the world, the Nightverse series. What if Buffy fell down the rabbit hole instead of Alice?
Really intense. Like, that first page of that book, drawn.
It definitely was.
Okay, we're going.
It definitely was. She was like, you opened it, so you're ready, correct?
Yeah.
That first page definitely. I was like, oh, and we're off. And we were off. So as we wind down, do you have a question that you wish that you got asked more? People ask you about you, Tutu, writing?
That's a good question, Britt. I don't know if I have a question that I wish people asked more of. And I think that's only because the book isn't out yet. So save that question. Ask me it
in our spoiler.
And I can tell you, I wish I was asked this question more, because I have an answer for it. Right now, I'm coasting. Okay.
Coasting. All right. Well, enjoy West Coasting. West Coast swinging. So, oh my gosh, this has been You're my first ever author interview, so thank you. I was like, dare I ask? It's been so amazing talking to you. Thank you for talking to us about your book, your writing journey. So on your socials,
Yes.
last question, you always give the encouragement to never give up. But if you could give any other piece of advice before we head out, what would it be?
I would say in terms of never giving up, also just be persistent. I think a lot of us have dreams that we want to accomplish, and we know as Black people that there are going to be extra barriers placed on us. But I would say be consistent and persistent in that. Like, continue working on your craft, continue writing, rewriting. Like, don't let your ego be the thing that keeps you from advancing to the next step. And then also, like, connect with the community. I think that's like one of the biggest things. Sorry, my dog's excited. But just like connect with the community. There's so many great people in the writing community, whether you find them on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, YouTube. There are so many Black authors, writers, and creators who love talking about books, who make it feel a little less daunting to be in this career path. So yeah, making connections in the community has been one of the most valuable things that I've been able to do. And so I'm always so happy when people reach out to me, or vice versa. Like, it is terrifying reaching out to other people, but it is so essential and so necessary in the career. And I think a lot of Black people forget to take advantage of being able to socialize with people that are also like in your career. Like, don't forget that you have other folks that are doing the same thing that you're doing, who might have advice for you. And don't be afraid to ask those people about advice. So that is what I would give in terms of advice to other people. And timing's everything too. Timing really is everything.
It is. You just got to stay ready. Man, timing is definitely everything. If we've learned anything in the past 2 years.
Yes, absolutely.
Timing is everything, for better or for worse.
Yes, sadly.
My gosh. Okay. Y'all, I almost said join me in thanking Britney, but in the comments, you can be like, thanks, whatever. Definitely go pre-order, request at your local indie, request at your local library. The Undead Truth of Us by Britney S. Lewis, forthcoming August 22nd, right? Is it?
August 9th.
Okay, it says 8/22 on the end, and I was like, is that just the year?
I know, it's the year. It's confusing because it looks like it should be a date, but yeah, it's August 9th, 2022.
Forthcoming August 9th, 2022. Meet Zari, meet Bo, meet the zombies. Your life will be forever changed for the better.
Aww,
y'all have a wonderful Kwanzaa. Absolutely. Thank you. Y'all have a wonderful Kwanzaa. Happy Nia. Remember, if you're doing anything for this day on your socials, just remember to tag me and Cache. Our socials are in the description box. Brittany's socials will be in the description box. So will the pre-order link. And y'all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.